Right, so today we are joined here on stage with some of the amazing studios we have here in the Nordics. But before we start, by the show of hands, how many of you are from the Nordics, or actually grew up in the Nordics? Oh, just a few of you. How many are working for a studio or a company, a studio that's located in the Nordics or headquartered out of the Nordics? Even fewer. Amazing. So who are you? Really cool. So, but before we kind of start, let's make sure that everyone is on the same page. So this is the world, at least according to the Mercator prediction from 1594, if I remember. We're here right now, San Francisco, Moscone West, and this is where the Nordic is. As you can see, pretty much on the same latitude as Alaska and Siberia. It's interesting. And this is the Nordics. There are 5 sovereign states and a few autonomous regions. We are about 30 million people, and the biggest country is Sweden, and we are about slightly larger than California as comparison. But before we start, this is the Google Cloud team in the Nordics. I'm the guy to the left, if that's unclear. There's 11 of us trying to make the Swedish studios and the Nordic studios build successful games. Most of us are here in this room, so if you want to have a chat, go find us afterwards outside. We will be waiting for you to have a good chat on stuff. But now it's time to meet the real stars of this session. So absolutely delighted to have you guys here on stage with me today. So we have Roope, we have John, and Marco. Absolutely happy you can join us here today. So why don't we do some introductions? And why don't you start, Roope? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Let's see. Does this work? This one? OK. Hi, I'm Roope. I'm a server engineer working on a new game at the moment at Supercell. Been at the company for 6 years. For me, being a server engineer basically means doing almost everything at the moment because we're working with really small teams. And yeah, it's kind of everything.
Markku.
Okay, hello. It's super nice to be here in CDC and also in this panel. So my name is Markku Vuoho. I'm working in Fingersoft as a head of product marketing. I have around 10-year experience in the mobile games. I've been developing games, leading development teams, etc. And now I'm focusing on product marketing. So thank you.
And I'm John Fuller. Nice to meet you all. From Ireland, so I have plenty to say about the early days of the Nordics regions. And I've been in Sweden for 2003, 20 years. And some of that time with Havoc and most of that time with Avalanche Studios. What do? I was a developer, and then I've done everything since, like tech director, EP, and now I'm CTO for Avalanche Studios Group.
Amazing. So super thankful for coming, for having you here today. So amazing studios. You've done a lot of stuff. But why don't you tell us, a 1-minute overview of your studio and kind of what games you're most famous for, I guess. You can start, Roope. You have the mic.
Yep, it's 1 minute. Yeah, Supercell, I guess, yeah, known for Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, Boom Beats, Heyday, Brawl Stars. So we're making these games that we aim to have people playing for years and hopefully can manage that and set quite a high bar for ourselves and try to build these global games. And the company is kind of structured into this kind of company of companies, a bunch of startups working inside the company, this kind of cells where the name comes from. So it's a interesting place.
Yeah. I mean, it's my wife plays Heyday, so
okay.
Yeah. And she's not a gamer, or used not to be a gamer at least. So that's a good thing. Marco, tell us about Fingersoft.
Okay. Fingersoft is located in Oulu, so if you you saw the map about the Nordics there. It was Finland, and it is in the upper part of the Finland. So we are located in quite the north there. We are famous about our hill climb racing games. So Hill Climb Racing 1 and Hill Climb Racing 2, those games have both acquired more than 2 million downloads worldwide. So those, we are currently focusing on those and also thinking about what new we can build around those games. And I think some of you have probably seen we have started the soft launch for our new game called Lego Hill Climb Adventure. So it's available in certain countries. As a company, we are just 10 years old, and we have a bit more than 100 persons working there, and we have, I think, around 20 different nationalities there. So quite a diverse company and growth a lot in over the last 10 years.
I'm going to try this one. Can you hear me if I speak? So I guess Avalanche Studios was the original name. It's been in business for shortly or soon to be 20 years. Originally very focused on open world, sandbox, big explosive action adventure games like Just Cause, that series, and Mad Max and Rage 2, those sorts of games. And then more recently, self-published games where we use our proprietary tech to do sort of unique experiences like the Hunter Call of the Wild, which is an outdoor recreational game, or Generation Zero, Second Extinction, like co-op, smaller kind of unique experiences. 20 years, as I said, location in Sweden, in Stockholm and Malmö, and then a studio in New York and Liverpool recently. That's us.
Amazing. Cool. How many have played any of the games that was just mentioned? There you go. Well done.
They're all Supercell.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess I should mention that we're located in Helsinki, the capital of Finland. We have an office actually here in San Francisco also.
Cool. So, I mean, we're all representatives of the Nordic countries. We grew up here, maybe not you, John, but so we kind of know what it's like to grow up in the dark Nordics. We are pretty successful in other things like ice hockey. But maybe not gaming industry and music industry we're quite successful in as well. So why do you think the Nordic countries has been successful when it comes to game development? Will you start, John?
Yeah, sure. So I guess historically, the region has had a good infrastructure. It's
infrastructure as in IT infrastructure.
High-speed internet and availability to technology. I think it's a pretty like technically capable like workforce. Then I also think that sort of the demo scene was very prominent in the, I guess, 90s, like mid-90s, around the sort of early console days. And yeah, a lot of like demo games and people doing, I guess people in the Nordics also have quite an entrepreneurial spirit, so they're not afraid to take a risk and start something small, do something with friends. Maybe the Dark Winters mean that
Probably
they can sort of really sink their teeth into it. Yeah. But you'll see a lot of, I think it's reflected now, but it was also reflected in the sort of 2000s. A lot of small companies starting something. The cost of failure is not that high. It's quite a good...
you have a good safety net in the Nordic countries.
Safety net, good sort of social structure. Yep. So it's a lot of different variables, but and I guess you can see that spreading not just to the games industry, but also a lot of high-tech industries also succeeding.
Yeah, makes sense. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And for me, it's been also the demo scene where like a bunch of my friends and like my generation also is rooted that, and yeah, that has had a big impact. And yeah, the support network, like I'm a beneficiary of that free education, just being able to kind of like basically walk into a university with good computer science department, and yeah, it's there's a lot of compounding factors, and of course the darkness and a lot of computers, and there's not much else to do than coding or just playing games. And
yeah, not a lot of stuff to do. What do you think, Marco?
Yeah, I totally agree with both of you. And I think the kind of mentality about the Nordics people is kind of heritage from the history and about the dark times and cold winters and short summers, that we are kind of humble but still quite a focusing people, that if we start to do something, we usually do it at the end, and instead of having a lot of chatting, we are focusing more on doing things, and I think that's something that have helped us to do those long game projects. And also, of course, because we have managed to get some success there early days of, for example, in the mobile gaming, and made some successful companies, it have then attracted more investors and interested towards the Nordic countries, which have then helped newer game companies or startups to get funding, and through that we have been able to create a new success stories there.
Yeah, it makes sense. That and coffee, I think. I looked this up, actually. The Nordic countries are, the 5 Nordic countries are top 6 when it comes to coffee drinking in the world per capita. And the only non-Nordic country that's on the top 6 list is actually the Netherlands.
But is it the games industry that's driving coffee drinking, or is it the coffee drinking that's...
Yeah, that's a good question. It can be either or, actually. I'm not sure. So when it comes to these, because we started earlier, we talked about the demo scene. We know that, you know, a lot of these companies are quite prominent, has been around for a long time. How are our gaming studios different, or are they different in the Nordics? I mean, is it kind of difference in kind of what games we make, or how we work in the studios? Do we have a different culture here even? What do you think?
Well, I can start. It's a bit hard for me to say that how it is happening outside the Nordics, but at least in our company and what I have seen, what is happening in Finland, I think in other Nordic countries, that we are working in a really open environment there inside the company. So people are relaxed and they have a lot of freedoms, and we try to keep the hierarchies low, and game teams, in our case, are also working independently, so they have a kind of authority over their own doings. And of course, it gives challenges for the company and the teams, that they are having a lot of freedom, but they have a lot of responsibility there. And also, we are looking after well-being of our employees. So, especially, for example, in Fingersoft, we started a bit less than a year ago, experiment that we started a tester kind of thing, that we offer for the people 90% salary if they are doing 80% of their time. So basically you can work only 80%, but you get 90% of salary. And that was a kind of successful thing inside the company. Of course, everybody is not participating in that or willing to do that, but after this trial at the beginning of this year, we decided that we continue with this one, adjusted the model a bit, and I think it's really good. It's helping the people to balance their work and home time and so on.
Yeah, cool. Is it? I mean, so it's voluntarily if you choose to accept.
You can choose it, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And it's made in the way that you are working like shorter days during the week, not in the way that you have one extra free.
I got it. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think there's probably, I mean, I'm not sort of hands-on with all of the different, or companies in the different countries in the Nordics, but I see some common themes, and the work-life balance and a sort of commitment to those places being a long-term home for developers is a very strong theme. Maybe because it's a closed market. It's not, you don't have the whole sort of the USA at your disposal, or at least we didn't. There's a boom going on at the moment where a lot of international talent is interested in looking at the Nordics as a potential home. But to try to, you know, I think working for a game development company has to be somewhere where you can be 5, 10, 15 years and still get challenged and still. So there's a lot of common themes. Then I think there are a lot of things that are unique. Like when I look at Finland, I see strong mobile background, and maybe that comes from Nokia and that sort of industry. I also see a lot of...
But with Ericsson in Sweden, so...
Exactly, yeah. Well, I guess King is another big player in that field. I see a lot of racing games as well, which is probably reflected in Finland's hobby interest in racing as well. So there might be some sort of personality applied to the games and the genres that are chosen. I don't know why we've done action games. Don't know what it says about us, but...
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. What do you think, Rope?
Yeah, I do agree with the work-life balance, and at Supercell I do notice that people come there and stay for a long time. I've been there for 6 years now at the company, and I guess one thing that I've seen throughout the time I've been in the games industry in Finland, I've seen this kind of very open attitude between the companies on sharing knowledge and kind of having this welcoming scene of game developers that is kind of trying to like lift everybody up with the tide if somebody is successful. And like I think that was like, we had a company before I joined Supercell and yeah, that startup was kind of probably a part of this boom at some point on getting investment into mobile games. And there's a lot of people who were like helping with that, and the Finnish kind of scene in like all of that investments and like helping others with tech and like sharing knowledge is really strong.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, the different kind of genres or type of games that we do. We mentioned a little bit, Finland do a lot of racing games, it's interesting. But on the other hand, you have 2 drivers in the Formula 1 circuit. So it kind of goes to kind of interest in what we do, and not sure why Sweden didn't do AAA games with a lot of action. It would be interesting to know. But I mean, so do you see any trends in how we make games? I mean, a lot of things happen in the world. So are things changing, how we've done things in the past 20 years, because we've been around for some time? You know, do you see any trends in either creative part or the tech part?
Yeah, I think, which is maybe a continuation of that point where you said that we sort of collaborate a lot and we're free to share. I think that we see the games industry and the number of players and where they come from is so rapidly expanding that we're not really competing with each other for like a spot on the second row of the shelf in a shopping mall. We're competing together to try to make games for as many people and demographics as possible. So we've seen a massive increase in the numbers and the types of people that probably it's increased faster than we can meet that demand. Yep. But that's a definite trend that has a lot of active discussions in our studio, and a lot of new studios are also trying to figure out ways to tailor experiences and tailor games to a very changing audience, yep. Rapidly expanding. Any other trends? Yeah, I guess a massive one is the fact that, and I guess mobile games has been particularly good at latching onto it, but that's that with kids now, I can say this with some confidence, games are becoming at least as much to do with the sort of gameplay experience. They're at least as much to do with the social platform and a place to hang out and a place to share your experiences and a place to, whereas, you know, maybe I would have gone over to a friend's house and sat on the couch and watched a TV show or something. Now people want to play games together, whether that's multiplayer or a slightly more distant, like asynchronous multiplayer mobile experience, or even games like Roblox and Minecraft. Sort of the platform is at least as important as the actual gameplay mechanics and loops.
Yeah, so I remember when The Last of Us came out, and my kids got it, and they were playing in our country house, and me and my wife were sitting down on the couch actually watching them play for a couple of hours, because it was kind of watching a movie a little bit. I think that's kind of basically what you're saying a little bit as well.
Yeah, and players now watch other players enjoying the gameplay experience.
Absolutely.
And enjoy dissecting it and talking about it and sharing other people's experience.
Yeah. What do you say, Rope?
Well, yeah, I have to admit that I've been in my development like manhole for a while. So looking at trends is kind of hard. But one thing,
Trends maybe.
One thing that is kind of obvious looking at the competition and like having high ambitions for new games, like trying to do more higher quality assets and like seeing how high the quality bar is, like getting on mobile also, and there's like a lot of variety in the games. So I guess it's a trend always that the competition is getting tougher all the time, and like we have to be better at like how we manage how do we get new content into the game faster and have our tools being up to par, and like so that's my like immediate concern, that trend, that we just need to keep taking risks, even though we have like a lot of success with the live games, kind of like be able to take risks and try to develop new things also, like on the side and with the new games, and like that's been like my focus, like mostly.
Yeah, I think competition is an interesting word, because my feeling is that when a sister company to us have a successful game, we're quite proud of that. We're not very jealous. Obviously, we can be jealous in some ways, but we're quite proud when other companies are successful as well. What do you say, Marco?
Yeah, I agree with this competition. So I think the competition nowadays is quite tough there in the mobile, especially in the mobile game industry. There have been these changes related to user acquisition, and also more and more games are coming in constantly, and the amount is increasing there. So basically the same kind of trend that Robert said, that you have to be kind of do more and faster and better all at the same time, and still keep the good quality and your players happy. And I think one thing what I think is in some level trending it's globally trending is the consolidation of gaming industry, and I think also in the mobile gaming industry, and I think it's visible also in the Nordics. Traditionally in the Nordics, I think we have had a lot of these kind of small game companies, kind of startup kind of game companies, where we have had from 1 to 10 persons working there, and I think nowadays there are probably more these kind of mergers and acquisitions happening, and some of those smaller companies are disappearing from the field, and I think those successful companies, even they are successful in the scope of Finland or the Nordics or in globally, are actually acquired then by the bigger players, global multi-billion companies. So it's decreasing the diversity there in the mobile industry, and that's one trend, and I believe it's going to continue. Is it good or bad? I don't know. Maybe would be nice to see more new companies. So if you have ever thought to build or start up a game company, please do that. The times are more tougher than they were a year ago or 5 years ago, but we need those smaller companies to bring in new ideas and then keep the creativity running in the game industry.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you mentioned the consolidation that goes on in the game market. It's been going around for like 2 or 3 years or something like that. But so obviously that affects the business. So are there other trends, you know, these trends, how do they affect the business? I mean, do you have to be more agile? Do you have to be faster? Do you have to be, or just better? Where do you think these trends, how do they affect the business?
Yeah, I think particularly live games, like the cost of creating digital entertainment, I guess mobile maybe shifted slightly, but the cost of, in our business where we don't do mobile games, sort of more polygons, higher production values, has just risen astronomically. And that, you know, the cost per minute of entertainment has risen. And then we have our own kind of economy for that for open world sandbox games. But even there, the demands are pretty harsh. So our type of game is, or our win there is to make sure that we're not doing, you know, once off, consume once and then leave aside. We want to engage players with a world or an experience or an IP, and then try to make sure that they can stay engaged. And we see, or I think a lot of people in this branch see that that's also what players want. They want to sort of keep, and one of the reasons that they leave is because you can't really keep up with feeding content, quality content for players that have really enjoyed your game experience.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge, and it speaks to sort of the tools and the production apparatus that you talked about, Rope.
And maybe that's exactly why Supercell has been successful, because they've managed to do that over and over again, essentially.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's like it often it's not mentioned that it's probably even harder, or at least as hard as coming up with something new to keep the live games going, like Class has been there for over a decade, and try to keep the focus on the players and what the players want and serving that community. It's yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one for the live game teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think with the games, everything starts from the experience, and experience is what we are providing. And I think one big thing there, actually, where I think in the Fingersoft, and I think also others are nowadays focusing, is the understanding better our customers, so you players. So what you are doing there, what kind of players you are, what you are expecting from our games. So instead of developing features, what we are thinking are the kind of best for the game, we have to also understand what the players are wanting from our game, and then adjust those both two things together. So as an addition, what we talked earlier, that do more, do faster, and do better, also take this into consideration.
Super easy, super easy. So, as a last thing, like 30 seconds each, and let's start with you, Marco. What's next for Fingersoft? Where will we see Fingersoft end up in 1 to 3 years?
As I already mentioned, we are developing, and now we are in soft launch with our new title, Lego Hill Climb Adventure. So it's a collaboration game made with the Lego. It's available in selected countries. It's a racing game in a similar way as a hill climb racing games, but it is also different. It's the kind of story and adventure driven version of that. The core gameplay is still thriving, but we are expecting that we can bring new experiences with that game. Also, we are continuing the development of our existing games, so Hill Climb Racing, the original one, and the Hill Climb Racing 2. So new updates are coming constantly, and we are adding new features and fine-tuning the existing ones. And I think there are a lot of kind of super cool things happening there. And as an addition for these, we are also developing the next version of Hill Climb Racing games. So Hill Climb Racing 3 is under development. We announced that.
When will it be out?
When it's ready.
Yes.
But yeah, it's going to be a new version of in this Hill Climb Racing games series, and in this version we are moving towards the real-time multiplayer experiences. So we want the players to play the same races together at the same time, and also we are moving from this 2D environment into 3D environment to provide a more rich content for the players. So
cool.
These are things.
Avalanche, what's next for Avalanche? Or any of your companies as part of Avalanche?
I guess we'll continue working on our big sort of open world action games. We have this game Ravenbound coming out this month.
Looking forward to that.
Which is new. It's like open world with some roguelite, some new elements for us anyway. I think a lot of our games are starting to lean into sort of community engagement features, like changing the game live while listening to the community. So we're building those into games across our studio. We're continuing to develop our proprietary tech.
Cool.
Lots of exciting projects.
Nice. And finally, Rope, what's next for Supercell? Can you share?
There's 5 games live that are going to receive updates all the time, so it's I'm not the actually right person even to summarize those. So a lot going on with the live games, and then there's multiple new game teams. We're hoping to get something out.
Yeah.
But that's probably all I can say at the moment. And we also work on our proprietary engine, and that there's going to be a lot of that development happening, and yeah, new games, try to hire more people. That's about it.
Cool. Jens, thank you so much for joining us here on stage today. And thank you all for joining us here. Personally, I don't think it's just one thing that made the Nordic companies successful. I think we got a bit lucky, especially in the early days. I think we worked really hard. And kind of now we're cultivating this legacy a bit. And it's probably the coffee. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Let's have a chat. And give this Jens a round of applause as well.